Welcome to an episode of r/slash petty revenge, where we share stories of small victories over those who wronged you. Kick back and enjoy these stories we're about to share with you. And at the end of this video, make sure to like, comment, and definitely subscribe if you have not already done so. Now, on to the stories. And this story is posted by u/Erlyn187. Tell me to exercise? You should too. So my husband and I got married a year and a half ago, and when we got married, I noticed from that point I've gained roughly 15-ish pounds. Nothing crazy, adding some hardly noticeable pudge around my tummy area. I didn't think too much of it. Now, I would jokingly, and he knows I'm joking, say that I'm gaining weight because I married him. I know that's not the case. The true culprit is a mix of cooking, lots of yummy foods together, since we love cooking and trying new foods, and me switching to a new birth control. Anyway, 6 months in, I'm changing into a tank top and some old short to go do some gardening, and these shorts, which used to fit me like a glove, now barely zipper up and leave me with the tiny muffin top. Naturally, I pout at the realization, turn to my husband, and show him. He gets in a deer in headlights look as he realizes my dilemma as his brain struggles to think of the least offensive response. Husband: maybe you should work out? We both had a good chuckle at that, and it did motivate me to put some more effort in. I haven't dropped the weight, but I haven't gained any more, and am good with my body image. But last night came my revenge. Hubby comes out of our walk-in closet with an armload of pants and throws them on the bed. Husband: they don't fit. Me: how? Are they too short? Husband: they're too tight around the waist. I held onto them to see if they would fit again, but they still don't. So, me: a grin breaks across my face as I look up at him from my computer. Maybe you should work out. He looked at me for a second, and then he remembered, tried not to smile, and muttered a snickering, "Oh my God," as he rolled his eyes and left me to deal with the pants. I made sure to give him half my cheesecake slice later. And this story is posted by u/ProSmartA1, Road Rage Karen. So this happened a few years ago, but will always remain one of my favorite memories. My older brother had joined the Marines and was stationed 2 hours away in a popular beach town for training. Being that my mom and I loved the beach, we traveled every so often to visit him on his weekends off. After a great visit with my brother, we decided to head home. This particular weekend, there was some huge classic car event in the town that brought in people from all over. The result was Sunday bumper-to-bumper traffic on the freeway. My mom and I had left early, but still not early enough to avoid the traffic. My mom likes to leave a bit of room between her and the car in front as an extra bit of stopping cushion. Not enough that a whole car could fit between, but enough. So, we're sitting in traffic just talking about life when the car behind us lays on their horn. We look at each other wondering what that's all about and turn to look at why the driver was honking. I stare straight into the eyes of ye old Karen. Graying hair in a short bob and everything. This lady is glaring a death glare at our car, honking at us to move forward. Seriously? When I say this traffic was bumper to bumper, I mean it. Any movement from my mom wouldn't have been more than an inch. Apparently, that inch we weren't moving was enough to trigger this Karen's road rage. Mom and I look at each other in shock, asking, where does she want us to go? She mouths butch at us, and we decide to get petty AF. Since the slow lane is also the lane cars merge onto, and this lady literally couldn't move around us, we began waving cars in front of us, purposefully slowing down to leave plenty of room for a car or two, or 10, to merge into the freeway ahead of us. Every time a car thanks us and pull ahead of us, we high-five each other in full view of Karen. We got the music blasting, the windows down, and we are laughing and high-fiving each other left and right, waving much more grandly than needed and smiling at each driver that's smiling back at us. We even made sure to look back at Karen and smile. She sat stewing in her car and calling us every name under the sun. Eventually, the lanes merged into one lane, and my mom and I took an exit towards home that had very few cars. Meanwhile, Karen's route took her on the same road that most of the other cars were heading down, which meant she still had to deal with bumper to bumper while we cruised on home. It was the most enjoyable traffic jam I've ever been in. And this story is posted by u/Craggy_Cynic. a multi-part petty revenge employing the long game. Many years back, I served a short stint as a delivery driver for a local pizza tavern chain, probably 8 to 10 stores in the city. The owner was a total D-bag, and the store manager was his little sycophantic minion. For example, they would often meet up at the shop during the busy lunch rush and then go off somewhere else to have lunch together, leaving the store understaffed. I ran afoul of the manager one evening shift when I dared ask why the driver had to clean up a mess that was carelessly made by a server, who also happened to be his GF, came back from a delivery and had a legit question about a payment on my last run. He completely ignored me, stood there and continued to make a pie, acting like I wasn't even talking to him. It was right in the middle of dinner rush and I was the only driver. So I dropped a few expletives, told him to deliver pizzas himself, and then walked out the door. Kinda petty, sure, but I wasn't done yet. I waited about 3 to 4 months in hopes of disconnecting myself from the incident and waited until an evening shift when the manager was working. He always parked his car in the lot behind the shop, which was conveniently quiet most of the time. I waited until after dark and then applied copious amounts of Vaseline to his windshield wipers. Then I splashed a little bit of mud on his windshield so he'd want to turn on the wipers promptly. Never heard from him and really wish I could have observed his reaction when he turned on his wipers. But I can't imagine that it wasn't effective. P.S. That took care of the manager, but I had it in for the owner too. But that's another story and post in and of itself. If this post takes off, I'll share that sweet petty revenge story as a sequel. And this story is posted by u/dark909911. Please don't park in my driveway. I live next door to an apartment building, and where their parking lot ends and my driveway starts, there are concrete slabs to show where one ends and the other starts. I even have a sign at the end of the driveway saying private parking, not apartment parking. There is lots of room for all tenants and visitors, so they don't need to park on my property at all. I called the apartment building landlord and complained a few times because people parking in my yard. He said he had signed all around the building where people can park, visitor parking and tenant parking, which he does. He said if they park on my property, to call a tow company. I woke up one morning to go to work and couldn't get out because some jack mule had parked in my driveway. I called a towing company from a totally different city about 3 hours away. I couldn't wait for them because of work, but asked if they would call when they were all hooked up and I would come home to make sure it's done. I only live 5 minutes from work and my boss allowed me to go take care of this. When I got home, the car was already loaded onto a flatbed and was just pulling out when the owner of the car came running out hollering for the truck to stop. He didn't. Then the guy looked at me and was very hostile and said, "This is all your fault. You will be paying to get my car back." I just laughed at him and pointed at my sign saying no parking or vehicle will be towed at owner's expense. I had already called the police as well to see if I could do it legally, and they told me since I have had signage up for over a year that nothing can be done against me. I told the guy where he can get his car back and was pissed to say the least. I backed out and went back to work. After work, the landlord came to see me. He said the guy tried to complain to him and telling him it will either be one of us or both, but someone will be paying to get his car back. He was told the tow charge alone was around $800 because of the distance and $150 a day storage until it is picked up. I know he got his car back because I saw it parked in the visitor parking a couple of days later. It is funny how after this happened, I have not had another person park in my driveway again. I still get the stink eye every time that guy sees me. I smile and wave each time because I am an a-hole like that. And this story is posted by u/Mortal Cassie. Hot wings. When I was in college, there was this girl who would constantly steal things out of my dorm. She would take my clothes. She would take my food. At the end of the year, she ended up returning a shampoo and conditioner bottle to me because she had just come in and taken them at some point during the year. She definitely stole my "To Write Love on Her Arms" hoodie, which I'm still mad about 11 years later. Anyway, a couple of my friends in the dorm and I were hanging out and we had ordered wings. And I like spicy food. And Gabby also likes spicy food. So we ordered like the hottest wings they had and then like the second hottest wings. The second hottest ones were like really good, but the hottest ones were just like too much for both of us. So I, being petty butch that I am, decided to set the super hot wings closest to the door in the dorm, knowing that Sarah would come in and just take one without asking. Not even 2 minutes later, she walks in, doesn't say hello to anybody, grabs a wing, turns to walk out, and takes a bite. You could literally hear her screaming in pain from the hallway. She hates spicy food, and if she had asked, I would have told her that they were too spicy for her, but I knew she wouldn't ask. Those were 5 great stories. To hear the best stories of the week, click on the video in the top left-hand corner. To hear more Reddit stories all related to what you just heard, click on the video in the top right-hand corner. If you have not already done so, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Once again, this is TNA, Top Notch Audio. Thank you for listening and have yourself a great day.